I welcome everyone to day 4 of the Sea Boot Camp, organized by the Creators Garage with the motto of Team Together Everyone Achieves More. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Pulkit. He has command in various programming and scripting languages. Today we are going to cover switch case and function, switch versus if else, and go to keyword. We will be clearing up the questions in the last 10 minutes of the session. You are advised to share full screen and to ensure the smooth flow of the session. Please fill the feedback form and attempt the quiz in order to receive the completion certificate. You all will be provided with the notes and study material at the end of the session. Please read rules and regulations mentioned. Please maintain the decorum. Any kind of wrong behavior will not be tolerated, and the person committing it will be no longer part of the boot camp. So please take over and teach us. Happy learning, everyone.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for the warm wishes and welcome. So, this, I hope my screen is visible and I am clearly audible to everyone.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let us just begin with that today's topic: switch case and functions. So I hope you remember the if-else statements that you studied in day two. Like the if-else, switch case are also used in a similar fashion in C programming. Now, why we are using switch case? See, suppose you are making a project which has about 5,000 lines of code, which is usually very common if you are making a project or a very good building application. Now, in that application, if you have written multiple lines of else if lines, if then else if else if else if multiple lines of else if. Now, if there is an error or you want to change something in those else if statements, you will it will be very difficult for you to find out which statement you have to change, which statement you have to alter. So, in order to reduce that confusion, switch case was introduced. Now, what switch case does is we have different cases. While writing a code, a person would surely remember which thing was mentioned in which case. So it becomes very easy for the developer or the programmer to find out the error in the case and resolve it. Or maybe if he wants to change something or alter something. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of a switch case statement. You write switch and then expression. Now the expression is compared to the value of the case. If it turns out to be true, the statements are being executed inside the case, in the case area. Now let us just go to text editor. See, uh, this is a basic switch case example. Now I have created a function main and I'm taking an input from the user. Now what happens is this number, which I am taking the input from the user, it is put as a parameter inside the switch case. These After the switch, these brackets, anything that is put inside these brackets is known as parameter. Now this parameter number is being compared to the case. These are cases. You write cases here. Now this number will be compared to the case value. For example, here it is 10. Now number will be compared to 10. If number comes out to be 10, or maybe the answer comes out to be true, the printf statement will run. This printf statement will run. Else, like in the case of if else statements, else next statement will be executed. Now in this case 50. If the number I have entered is 50 and if it turns out to be true, then this statement will be executed. Else, then case 3 will be, or case 100. Now let us just run this code. Now, if I enter value 5, we all know 5 is not equal to 10, 50 or 100. So it should return false. Okay, just a second. There's a default statement as well. Now let us just run it again. See, now when I write 5, the answer comes out to be the default statement because 5 is not equal to 10. The compiler first compared the number to the 10. The answer came out as false. So this statement was not executed. Then the compiler compared to it 50 and so on to 100. Now, since none of the statement was executed, default statement was executed. Like in case of if-else statement, you write if, then condition, then else if, else if, else if. At the end, you write else. If all the conditions are not being executed, the last condition, else statement is executed. Same way, default statement is being executed here. Now, let me run it again. Now, if I write here 10, the number equals to 10. This statement is being executed. The number compiler compares the number to this value. It comes out to be true. So this statement is being executed. I hope the basic switch case has been cleared. Now see, we are using break statements. If you remember day 2, you studied about the jump statements. Now jump statements, break is a jump statement. Some other jump statements are go to as well, go to. Now when we write, if we remove break, can anyone tell me what will be the output? If I enter the number as 10.
Your value does not matches 10, 50 or 100 will be printed, I guess.
Yes. Everyone else agree or someone has any other answer?
So what is the question, sir? Can you repeat?
I had written previously break statement here. Now I have removed the break statement. Now what if I enter either if I enter 10, what will be the output?
Well, all the statements will be executed since there's no break statement here,
Okay.
and this sequence would continue on.
Yes. Anyone else? Everyone others agree with this answer. Okay. Let us just run this code. I enter value 10. See. I hope the line I am highlighting is visible. Since no break statement has been added, first the compiler compares the number to 10. It comes out to be true. This printf statement is printed. Number is equal to 10. By default, all the statements are being printed after that. The compiler does not check if it is equal to 50 or 100. It just prints all the value till the default statement is being executed or till this closing bracket of switch case has been executed. That is why we use break statements here, so that not all the cases are being run. Now let me just run the code again. Now if I'll enter supposedly 50, only one statement will be executed and not all the others. have you guys cleared with the concept of break statement? Anyone? Okay. I guess the silence means yes, you guys are cleared with the concept. Now, someone wants to say anything? Okay. Now, see, we will study some basic interesting facts about switch case. So basically, switch case, as you might have known till now, switch case is basically this part. Switch, and then a parameter is being passed. Then you write cases. Inside the cases, some statements are being run. You write break statement if you do not want to print other statements. And if you want to print other statements, you don't write break statement here. And after that, in the last, you write default statement. This is switch case. Now, one interesting fact is that you don't have to write default case in every line. Like if you remove just the default case, now if I run the code, okay, closing bracket. So now if I write 100, the statement will execute still now. Still it will execute. It is not necessary to print not necessary to write a default line, but it is a good coding practice that you should write a default statement after the cases. Another interesting fact is that inside the switch case, where now number is written, this is int number. The type of number is integer. You can only pass integer or a string value inside the switch case. This parameter, as a parameter, you can only pass integer or a string. No float, no double, nothing. Okay. This was pretty much it about the switch case. Now let us just see what else is there. Okay. Functioning of switch case, I already have told you. You can read it from here. So yeah, flowchart. In case of switch case, inside of switch case, a conditional statement known as parameter is passed. Case 1, the conditional statement or parameter is compared to the value of case. If it returns true, statements are executed. If there is a break statement, the program will end at that point only. If it not, then all the statements will be executed. If the value comes out to be false, the case 2 will be executed in the similar manner, and so on case 3 and case n. And after that, default case will be executed. Now let us just see the differences. Like if there was already an if else, why did we develop switch case? So in case of switch, now just editor. So in case of if else, it is just right here. In case of if else, we write if, then any statement, and then else statements. But in case of switch, as I told you, switch, then any parameter, and then cases. Okay, this was the first basic difference that you guys might have known until now. Second difference would be, now in case of if statements, if, now you guys can write logically like if A is equal to B or something like that. All the logical operations or equality expressions can be used here. But in case of switch, only single value can be passed. It might be an integer, or a string, something like that, but nothing else. No equality expression, no logical expression. In case of the third difference will be third, um, what else? Yep, speed. Basically, speed matters a lot. If in case of you have like 10 if-else statements, if then else if 10 times, and in case of switch, you have 10 cases. Can anyone guess which will be faster to run, cases or the if-else statements?
Sorry, Felch.
If-else will be faster. Okay. Anyone else?
I
Okay.
guess switch will be faster.
Yes. See, basically what happens is, in case of if-else statements, if a statement is executed, then else if, all the statements are being executed. While in case of switch, if the case is executed and it comes out to be true, like the case has been run, if there is a break statement, the compiler will end the switch case there and then only. But if there is no break statement, all the statements will be executed automatically. But in case of switch, compiler will run each statement one by one. That is why switch cases are being used in when we are building applications of bigger programs, because at that time uh, even 1 second matters if we are saving from switch case. Okay, so switch case will run faster than if else if there are multiple if else statements. Then again, as I said earlier, editing is very easy in case of switch case, because when you are writing, if you are a developer, when you are writing the code, you will probably remember all the cases in the switch case, and you can easily edit the cases. But in case of if else, it will be pretty difficult because you have to search for every else if statements. So it will be pretty difficult for you. Um, I guess this sums up the switch case, the difference between the if else and all the basic things about switch case. If you guys have any doubt regarding switch case, you may ask. Okay, no issues. Now let us just go to another topic, functions. Basically, what functions is, you probably have seen function in the code you have written till now, and you wouldn't know that. Can anyone tell me any one function that you guys have been using till now, even if you don't know about the functions? Like, can anyone guess?
Int
Int main.
function, int main.
Yes, exactly. This main function here. This is probably everyone who are beginner would be writing this int main and all the codes inside it, but probably wouldn't be knowing what this int main is. Int main is basically a function. Now, why are functions created? Functions are created for the code reusability. Understand this term, code reusability. This means, like, if I am creating an application in which there are multiple functions, there are multiple things happening around at a similar time. Now, supposingly, if I make a calculator, for instance, if I make a calculator and I am doing subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division, and other processes also, other functions also. Now, what if I have to call addition function? I have to add two numbers. Okay. Now, one way is either I or write C is equal to A plus B, and then I print. Every time I need something, I just print that C, because C is equal to A plus B. So just print C again and again and again and again. So it will be tiring, because sometimes the variables are not initialized that much, or maybe you will study afterwards that if you declare one variable inside a function, inside a main, you cannot call it outside, like that. So in order to avoid that, what we do is we make functions, basic functions. Like for addition, I make one function int sum. Inside it, I write the logic, and then I can call the function every time I need to make addition. Okay. Mm, you guys can read it. Pretty basic. Yep. So there are three basic aspects of a function. First is declaration, function declaration. How do you declare a function? So I have written a sample code here. Okay, so this here, let us just, this line of code, this is known as function declaration. What do you mean by function declaration? When you declare a function, when you tell the program, when you tell the laptop, the compiler, that this is my function. Int basically is data type. See, I have written for you, when you are declaring a function, you need to write three things. First is data type. Data type is int here. Then function name. I have written max. Max means maximum. Along with that, either you can leave these brackets empty, or you can pass some parameters. In case of a function, these parameters are known as arguments. Okay, so these integers, these are known as arguments. In case of int main, like you write int main, in here there is no argument, but we can pass arguments. Why are we passing arguments? Supposingly, you have to call a function, you have to uh, write a function, and then you have to call it somewhere else. So in order to pass some values, you have to write the arguments inside it. Now, this is a pretty basic logic to find the maximum of two numbers. So in case of int max, I just wrote this function. I wrote a local variable result, and then I wrote if else statements. If number one is greater than number two, then my result will be number equal to number one, else number two, and then I'll return the result. See, the first part is declaration. I have declared my function. I have written some code inside it. Now let's see the code, original code. I wrote one function. I declared the function, and this logic is pretty much the same. Now in case of main function, see, I have two functions. So this tells us we can have more than one function in case of a program. We can have multiple functions. Here inside the main function, I declared two local variables a and b, and then a third variable ret, random name. So like I was just speaking about calling a function. What do you mean by calling a function? You have initialized a function. You have given a name to the function. You have declared a function. You have told the compiler, this is the name of the function. But where do you have to use it? How do we tell the compiler that this is the place I want to use my function? So I'll just, this is known as calling of a function, that I'm telling the compiler that here it is this is the place, this is line number 22 that I need to call my function. So I just put a variable and equate it to the value, equated to the function max a and b. So now what happens is when I run this code, the function comes down to the main function. It sees that two variables are being initialized. Compiler sees that three variables, in fact, three variables are being declared, two are being initialized. Now, when it comes to this line, RET is equal to max A and B. What happens is the cursor or the compiler goes back to this function. When the compiler calls this function, see this function, it goes back to this function. Now here A and B, see, here I have written int num1 and int num2. These A and B are acting as number 1 and number 2 here. Now what happens is when my compiler goes back to this function, it runs this function int max, then int number 1 and number 2. It runs this code, it declares a variable result. Then in case of if statement, both the numbers are being compared. Think of this as A and B. A is greater than B, then result will be equal to A, else result will be equal to B. I'm just saying think, because that is not true. Just for the explanation, I'm saying think this number 1 to be A. Now number will be compared, the result will be whatever will be the result, it will be returned, and this max value, when the result is returned, the compiler comes back to the RET, and then after the printf statement is being executed. So let us just run this code. See, in case of 100 and 200, we obviously know 200 is the largest. Now I'm explaining it once again. When I run the code, the compiler comes to the main function. Remember this, whenever you run a C program, the compiler always checks out the main function. This is by default, that compiler always comes to the main function first. So first it will come to the main function. Then two variables will be declared and initialized. A third variable will be declared. I'll call this function max function. Here I'll call it. As soon as I call this function, my compiler will go back to the main function, max function. This max function, since I already have passed two arguments in the function, these arguments will act as A and B, whose value are 100 and 200. So basically here, if statement in this 100 is greater than 200, this returns as false. The if statement comes out to be false, so it comes back to result else statement. Here the result comes out to be 200. So 200 is returned as the value of this function, if this whole function. Now then this max function value becomes equal to 200. Max function becomes equal to 200. It is just for the explanation. Now then RET, the value of RET becomes 200. So when we print the statement, the value of the function comes out to be 200. I hope basic will be clear. It's a little difficult topic. Are you guys clear with the concept, or I should explain it once again?
It's clear.
Clear. Everyone is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, yes, as you since you guys have been coding, so you guys might have known if the data type in case of int, like in case of you see the data type beside the function name, Like in case of main, generally write int and then return 0. Basically, what is that if we are writing a data type other than void, either we write void, or we write int. If we are writing void, then void means there is no value. Like void means 0, null, nothing. So no return statement is needed. But in case of int or maybe string or maybe character or maybe anything else, double, the return statement will prevail. Return has to be there in case of any other data type instead of void. Okay, so let's just see the function. Now, let us come to the type of function. There are basically two types of functions: library functions and user defined functions. The one that I just did, Max, what kind of function was it? User defined or a library function? Can anyone guess?
Can you repeat the question again, sir?
I just wrote a function max. This function, int max. What kind of function was it? A library function or a user
It
defined?
was user-defined function.
User defined.
Yes, because I defined the function. I was the one who wrote the code, so it was the user defined function. But in case of like scanf, when you accept the values from the user, or printf, or similar examples of these functions, these are the inbuilt functions that comes with the libraries of the C language. Okay, when I am printing the statement, this printf, whatever I am writing inside it, this is this argument, and this whole is a function. So these are library functions. Now, I don't know if anyone of you has got this doubt or not. I'm declaring this function int max here and then calling it here. But since we just studied, printf is also a function, kind of a function. Then where are we declaring it? We are just calling it here. This is the calling function. Where are we declaring it? Can anyone answer or guess? You can guess. Guess may be wrong or right. You can guess.
Where we declare, na?
Ah,
We declare there here int max, int num1 and num2. Here we are declaring that int max function.
no. See, I am declaring int max function here. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm calling the max function here. But
Okay.
as I told you, printf is also a function. Printf
Okay.
is
Where
also,
we declare printf function. You are asking this, na?
yes, where I am declaring printf.
As we know, printf is a library functions. Okay.
Okay.
It has defined a compiler before.
Okay.
Compiler will
Yes, you are right.
read this function from the library, not from here.
Yes. See, in case of user-defined functions like this, max, I have to declare it manually. But in case of library functions that are already defined inside the libraries, I do not have to declare them because they already are declared inside the C compiler. When I download C, these are predefined language, predefined functions. I just have to use them. Great, whosoever answered.
Kunal.
No, great. So yes, now comes how are we calling? Like just I said, this is calling of a function. Now there are two ways when we call a function. It is either by value or by reference. Okay, this is just a comparison. Let us just this. Okay, so I have written a code in this. First, let us understand what is happening here in the code. I made a function name as change. Inside, I passed an argument name as num. Okay, so I wrote a statement printf printing the original value of the number. Then in the next line, I add 100 to the value of num, and then I print the raised value of num. Okay. Now then inside the main function, I declare one value 100. I wrote a statement previous value of x, like the original value of x. Then I am calling this function change x. And then x. I'm passing the argument inside the x. So this basically is known as passing the value in function. I interchanged it because initially change has the value of num, but now I'm passing my own value, the user defined value x. So this is known as passing of the value, and then I'm calling the x again. So can anyone guess what will be the output of this program? It's easy. Think a bit. Okay. Can anyone guess this thing that when this statement will be executed, this statement will be executed, will its value x will be equal to 100 or 200? Because I'm just telling you the flow once again. When I call this function x, my compiler goes back to this function. This function, there x will print here.
Sir, 200.
X will be 200 here.
The
Print
value
it.
of x will be 200. For
Yes, sir. 200.
200. Okay, okay. Now let us see what happens. See. First, before function calls, here the value of x is 100. Then, as I said, once this function is being called, it goes back to here. Before adding the value inside the function, num is equal to 100. Okay, here the value of num or x, as you say, is 100. It increments by 100. Now, this statement is being executed 200. As we know, this will print 200 only. But then when it exits the function, this statement is executed, which I asked you guys, but the value it is showing is 100. This is the concept when we call a function by value. Understand? In case when I say function, the calling by value, what happens is this is x. Here, when the compiler goes here in this function, a replicate of x is being created. Understand this, not the original x, but the replicate of x is being passed as a parameter argument here. So the value of replicate increases. Okay, the value of the replicate x is increased to 200, but when it comes out to be, when the compiler comes out of this function and execute this line printf statement, the original value of x is still 100 only.
okay, got it.
Got it?
Yeah,
A
thank you.
replicate is being formed यहाँ पे. Now similarly, in case of reference, now it will be, I guess, easy to understand. Okay, same code is being code is being implemented here. Now, can anyone tell what will be the value of x here? I know you guys will be in doubt. What is this star and what is this x here? And doing there and operator, but just leave it for now. Understand it as a normal, as a simple code, the previous one, and tell me what will be the value of x here, 200 or 100?
Now I think it will be a 200.
Now it will be 200. Okay.
Yeah.
Others? You guys have to just guess the answer.
I
100 or
think
200?
100.
100, sir.
Okay, great. ठीक है. Now let us
सर
just
ये
run this.
पॉइंटर स्टार तो पॉइंटर के लिए होता है ना?
हाँ, पॉइंटर के लिए होता है. Okay, now this value comes out to be 200. Now it's confusing. As earlier I said, a replicate is being created and then the value remains the same. But now why the value is being 200? See, now let me explain what does the concept call by reference mean. When I run this code, the compiler comes first to the main function. It declares a local variable int x. Then a printf statement is being executed. This line comes before function call 100, x is equal to 100. Okay, this statement is being executed. When I come to this part, change x. See, basically, what is this? This is a way to call a pointer. In call by reference, the value which is being changed, altered, the original value. See, when I pass this x, in this case, I was passing x as a replicate. I was not doing anything to the original value. But in this case, I'm passing the address of the x. Understand this? Previously, I was
Yes, sir.
passing a duplicate x, but now I'm passing the address of the x. Since the compiler has the address of the variable, it can easily modify the variable. Okay, so I passed with the help of AND, I pass the address of x. It comes here. Now, this star refers to the pointer. Basically, the pointer, you will be learning pointers in, I guess, 8th day or 9th day. You have to wait till then. But this is a simple concept. Now, in this num, this statement is being executed before adding the value num is equal to 100. Clear. This is sorted. Now, this statement means the num is being incremented by 100. Okay, no issues. After this, the value, this statement is being executed 200. This we know. इतना हमें समझ आ गया. Okay. Now, when the compiler exits this function and then printf statement is being executed, since I had passed the address of the x, the alteration has been done on the original location of x. So the function, the original value of x changes to 200. In this, only the duplicate x value was being incremented. But in case of reference, since I have passed the address of the variable, the original value, the original x piece becomes incremented by 100. Any doubt? Take your time and see both the codes. Take your time and ask. So anyone has any doubt?
If anyone has any doubts, please kindly raise your hands and let us know. We can clarify your query. Anyone? So looks like no one has any doubts.
The doubt from one participant that in the earlier code, if we return num, what will be the answer?
Here, num.
Yes. She's saying not there.
There.
Ayushi, can you unmute yourself and ask that there's no confusion?
Specify where. In the change function. In the change function, it's already num. If you guys are asking about this, then if I'll just write num here, it will show an error.
Okay, she's saying that if we use int change instead of void, what will happen?
Okay, nothing will happen if you write int change. As I said, with the help of int, you have to write a return statement. Write one return statement, and the answer. Let's try. Let's see what happens. See, let me just clear it for the clear view. Same.
चूहा मरा हुआ है, चूहा मरा हुआ है
तो मार भगा उसे, कहाँ है मरा हुआ तो
फ्रिज के पीछे.
तो उसको फेंक.
Oh, yeah.
भाई म्यूट कर ले.
Huh. See, in case of int, as I told you, you have to write a return statement. I just changed from void to int and returned that similar this num. So I guess this much this clears your doubt. Yep, there will be no change because it doesn't matter if you write here void and remove the this return statement, the code becomes exactly the same. This is the same thing. If you are writing int or any other data type beside the name of the function, just add a return statement. If you're not writing any data type and you are writing void, remove the return statement. The code remains the same. Yep. Any other doubts? Because today's topic is over. This was it about the functions. So guys, I want to ask any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Others also?
I want to thank the speaker for taking out time for us and presenting such a nice presentation and clear all our basics. And you can see there are no doubts. Thank you for such a deep understanding. I also appreciate all the attendees for being part of our bootcamp. We are ending the meet now. We will stay connected for questions in the WhatsApp group. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Stay tuned for updates in the WhatsApp group and don't forget to fill the feedback form as well as the quiz. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.